That must be nice. We were just saying it was nice to have a second half where we weren't tense, because it was all done and dusted. They earned the right to play today, I thought. It would be it to borrow an old cliche.
We had a big week this week, training on the training ground, and we looked specifically at our home form and the reasons why, and we haven't been winning games, and it was a lot about tempo of pass, how we move the ball, when can we be positive, and I thought we saw that straight away with little moments of Ross Barkley turning and receiving and forward, Callum's runs, and generally, and then the second big part of it was crosses. We've crossed so many balls, and quality of cross and how many people are in the box, are we breaking our neck to arrive in the box, and we scored 2 goals from crosses, so I'm a happy man today.
Clearly home form in the league has been a bit stodgy at times, and we spoke to you about that. You've tried different formations. Today, Ross and Mason, and in particular, I thought Ross had a really good game, making those runs, stretching their back lines and causing real problems. I thought all game he was on it, and that must have been something you've discussed. Yeah,
definitely. And for them to be sort of behind their midfield or to the side of them and constantly moving and fluid so we can find them, which they did. And as you say, that one run behind, which I think is a strength of Ross, his running power. And we worked on that through the week, and that's a great thing as a coaching staff when you work on it and you see the fruits of it. But it takes a lot. It's not just that little moment. It's the position of Reece James. It's the speed of pass from our centre backs. It's the position of Callum and keep moving and trying. And so I thought throughout the team today they were outstanding. The only thing is we should have scored 6 or 7.
Yeah.
I imagine when you left here as a player, while Jody was just coming into being a coach, he probably at some point would have said to you, you want to see this boy Reece James crossing, because since he's been 16, he's been delivering the ball that well and that early. He's making himself undroppable with that kind of delivery, and I guess the players always know it's going to come so they can make those runs.
Well, yeah, hopefully that's the plan. That's the plan. And when you have a weapon like that in your team, and the ability is so good, you have to use it. And we've seen it in the last 2 games here, particularly at home. I'm delighted with, and Callum, because the link up of those two were great. So you have a threat of Callum that wants to go 1v1. You have Reece coming up behind him, who's getting involved in high areas. And the next question is how many of those crosses can we make good with finishes? Obviously, Tammy gets his goal from one today, but the one in the second half that he fires across the face, we have to anticipate
could have been a lot
that. Yeah, we have to anticipate it, and then can we vary it? Is it always going to come in? There's things for us to work on, but it's great to work with him because he's so young. He's only going to go in one direction.
It was great to watch the lads express themselves. Tammy was little flicks, and you felt that there was an enjoyment about the game, and the fans and us, and I'm guessing you and the players definitely. That's something that we haven't quite seen enough of, but it was a pleasure watching the second half. It really was. I'm guessing you've really relaxed down here.
I have to say, I've felt deflated myself, but for the fans in those 3 home losses, because I haven't enjoyed them. They've been boring is a strong word, because we have had moments in those games where we created, but I haven't really liked what I've been seeing, and I understand the fans coming away going, we want to support this and cheer for this, but we can't. It was one of those, and today was one where I talk about the work, because you can only work to a degree and say this is what we want to be as a team, but then you have to have that little whatever percentage of freedom of players and rely on them to do their bits, and they were doing their bits today in loads of some of those little passages of play that nearly ended up in goals. You really want to go or finish at the end of that so we can replay it time and time again.
Just finally, have you found something there that you might use more in games like this? And when I say found something there, I mean having just Jorginho in there, because I think that's the first time you've only picked one of him, Kovacic and Conte. It's always been 2 of them, and every now and then all 3. To have Ross and Mason in that midfield 3, is that something that maybe is a key to doing that, or was that just something that worked today?
We did try it a couple of times early in the season. I think probably Newcastle and Brighton at home, I know for sure we played the 2 of them, because you kind of judge the game and how much ball we have and how many players can we be getting in high areas of the pitch, and Ross can finish. Ross can hit with both feet, can find an assist. So I'm not saying necessarily that will be the way, but you do obviously approach a game, you expect us to have a lot of ball against Burnley, and then you hope. But the N'Golo one's tough, because I'm not going to stand there and someone drop him too many times. I think it'd be mad, because we know what he is. But at the same time, we can mix around that midfield, try and find the right combination between the 3. But for me, it wasn't so much the personnel today. It was the idea. It was the speed of pass, finding the pass, turning quickly. And all the midfield players can do that we've got. So they're difficult but nice choices.